Uh, J. Roos Theory in the building. It's been a long time, ain't it? Or hasn't it, I should say. Been a while. Decided to go live with y'all. Talk about a few things. Yeah. Talk about a few things. Am I facing the right direction? It's like YouTube is always messing with stuff. Am I facing, is everything all right? Let me see. What's going on with y'all? Come on in. I'm hearing some interesting things in the boxing universe. Derek Chisora versus Deontay Wilder. A little face off like about a month or so ago. I guess that was letting us know what was coming. So, but we all thought it was Usyk versus Wilder coming, based off Usyk calling him out and Deontay finally accepted. Or so we thought. But now it looks like it's going to be Deontay Wilder versus Derek Chisora and Usyk versus Ruiz. Where did that come from out of nowhere? But hey, we got to get something going in the heavyweight division, huh? As they say, and I don't like cliches, but as they say, when the heavyweight division is popping, boxing is popping. So let's talk about it. If you don't catch us now, you can watch the replay. And let's have a field day. Trying to set things up. But yeah. And Derek Chisora made some interesting comments about Deontay Wilder. He was like, if he doesn't knock me out by like the 10th round, he said he's pretty much going to blast him. And you kind of wonder where Deontay Wilder's mind state is at right now, because the dude is like getting emotional, crying, and he's not blowing people out like he used to. And that's the thing about one-trick ponies. Once you're figured out, it's like everybody's like, okay, I know how to beat this dude now. It's like, I know how to beat this dude now. And Derek Chisora is just one of them guys. He's like a poor man's Mike Tyson. Doesn't throw as many punches, but he's constantly hunting you. He's coming in with hooks to the body, hooks to the head, power shots. He rarely throws punches that don't have some steam on it. And, he can wear you out. And to this day, I would say he probably gave Usyk his hardest fight at heavyweight, If you go back and watch that fight between Chisora and Usyk, Chisora did his thing. Now, I think that was that Usyk's first fight at heavyweight, or was it Witherspoon? It was somewhere in there. So it was when Usyk had just started his journey in the heavyweight division, Let me read the comments if I can see it on here. We got Fimo versus Shakur next weekend. Yes, we do. And I haven't covered it because Fimo been wearing his Klansman hat a lot of times. So I was kind of giving Tio a little bit of space. I'm hoping Shakur goes in there and does his thing. I saw their face off, and there's many different versions of Tio, man. He be Tio's cool 1 minute, and then next thing you know, he's sounding like he's head of the KKK. So, of course he's going to say he's playing and he's trolling, but you got to know how to play and how to troll. Like Corey Holcomb and Anton Daniels, another topic, but Corey Holcomb went too far, and You don't bring people's family into your beef. You got to have a filter. And what Anton Daniels said about him shaking like Ali at the Olympics, way too far. Both guys went too far. But hey, that's another topic. That's between them two. You know, I hope they get their acts together, though. I know that. Where'd my chat go? Oh, there we go. Let's see. Tiafimo used to be one of my favorites, and yeah, I like Tio too. I picked him to beat Lomachenko, and he did. I used to really like Tio. In fact, when I was on a live stream over on Tony's Reviews channel, his dad came on there and talked to his dad a little bit. So yeah, Tio used to be. I thought real highly of him. He's fast, he's strong, he's athletic, and then the switch happened. So a lot of that stuff you hear from Tio is just him not being able to handle the pressure of being a fighter. That's what that is. He can't handle the spotlight on him. And when you can't handle the spotlight, stuff like that happens where you say stuff and then I'm sure years later down the road he'll be like, "Ooh, did I really say that?" But yeah. Is my am I facing the right direction? Cuz I don't know. YouTube is always doing the switch ups with the long way or horizontal or vertical. So it looks right on my end, but I don't know how it looks to y'all. But yeah, I'm hoping Shakur goes in there and handles his business, and we can rid boxing of Teofimo Lopez till he gets his head right at least. But back to Derek Chisora versus Deontay Wilder. I have to base it on what I've seen most recently. And most recently, you got to favor Derek Chisora for the simple fact he's winning, he's more aggressive. He seems to be actually getting better in a sense. Deontay Wilder is going the opposite direction. He's getting worse. He's been exposed. People are on to his timing. They know he's a one-trick pony. So you got to go with the guy that looks like he's hungrier and looks more ferocious, and that's Derek Chisora. So if they fight, which according to Derek Chisora, I got Derek Chisora by stoppage. I think he'll work Deontay's long torso and completely just break him down and then get him up out of there. Derek Chisora, even when he's lost, he gives people problems. He gives you problems. You can go back and watch his highlights. Who do you guys think will win? And don't just pick the guy that you're cheering for. You might be wanting Wilder to win or Chisora to win, but tell me who you really think is going to win in your heart of hearts. You know what I'm saying? And if Deontay comes out and stops Chisora within the first 2 rounds, that's some nasty work, champ. Nasty work, crazy work. Because we ain't seen that Wilder in a hot minute. But I'm hearing from Chisora too. He's talking about Usyk is supposed to fight Ruiz. Now, when did this happen? Usyk and Ruiz? That's a nice fight. Now, Ruiz, I heard someone say the other day he hasn't fought but 3 times since his fight against AJ, and that was years ago. 3 times? Like, why is he not more active? You constantly see him training and stuff, but what's the lack of activity due to? Like, what's that about? Usyk's been consistent. Usyk may not fight 3 or 4 times a year, but he's in the gym and he's fighting and under the lights. So you got to go with Usyk. You know, John Ruiz is going to probably be rusty, and he throws combos, but so does Usyk. So you might have a war for a little bit. I think it'll probably go the distance, but I think it'll be a unanimous decision from Usyk for Usyk. You can't go against Usyk at this point. If you do, you're probably just doing the fanboy jump off. And that's crazy work. These East Coast dudes crack me up how they talk. That's nasty work, champ. That's crazy work, champ. But that's a fight that I didn't see coming if it does happen. Of course, Chisora picked something wrong years ago about a fight. He said it was going to happen. That didn't happen. So you never know if Chisora is just out there making stuff up and trying to create a buzz or see how many people's listening to his interviews. Like, oh, like I'm seeing channels talk about what I said. You know, sometimes I think people might do that just to see a reaction. But that'd be pay-per-view material. Usyk versus Ruiz. Gotta go with Usyk. Like I said, if you base it off what you've seen more recently, you gotta go with Usyk and you gotta go with Chisora. And if the winner of Deontay Wilder Chisora is to move on to bigger and better things, they might get the winner of Usyk and Ruiz. I believe that's what Chisora was talking about too. So that's an incentive for Derek Chisora and whoever else he faces. You know what I mean? But hope y'all are doing all right out there in this ice storm. I'm not going to get into that, but keep warm, be safe, stay prayed up. Yeshua is the only way. There's not many ways, there's one way. Yeshua, one way. Don't care what anybody tells you, it's one way. But the year's just starting off, 2026. Last year was a big year, of course. We finally got Crawford versus Canelo, and I told you Crawford would do it. What other big fights do we have last year? I'm trying to remember. Not going to be good for Wilder. He's going to get himself hurt bad. Yeah, that's kind of how I see it. Yeah, he fought Big Baby Miller, Ruiz. Yeah, broke his hand or hurt his hand. It was a decent performance, but underperformed, in my opinion. Yeah. Ruiz is one of those kind of guys that, and it's strange about him. It's like he almost fights better when he's heavier. You know, you would think a guy would fight better at his lower optimum weight in a lot of cases, but Ruiz, when he fought Areola, didn't he go down once or twice, or was on the verge of going down twice? Because he had lost a lot of weight, and it's like maybe that affected his legs. So I think Ruiz might not come in 280 like he did against AJ in the rematch. Don't come in that high, but come in at a weight that, you know, where he can keep his legs up under him, because you don't want to get in the ring with Usyk and not be at your best. Pitbull versus Roach was an underrated. You know, I didn't even see that. I didn't even see that fight. I like Lamont Roach though. He said exactly, Ruiz. Ruiz looks good when he's fat. Yeah. Yeah, he likes some Snickers too, man. Just load up on Snickers and you might get a great fight. What up? What's going on? What is going on? Charlene in the building. Yeah, he lost too much against, yeah, against Chris Ariola. Yeah. Yeah, Ruiz just not, I don't know. I think he fights better heavier because that's what he's used to. So if you're comfortable fighting at like 260, 270, not 280, but if he's comfortable at that weight, fight at that weight. Don't try to please the audience, you know. You gotta fight it's what's best for you. You know, you're not maybe he's not made to have a six pack. So what good's a six pack if you get knocked out? So be at your best though. Be at your best. And I understand you want to look good. But you don't want to go in there and get embarrassed by a guy like Alexander Usyk, which is easy to get embarrassed by a guy like Usyk because the dude is a workhorse. He presses your central nervous system, have you sweating, have you working harder than you intended on working. Yeah, Usyk knows some tricks that a lot of boxers aren't privy to. He should just retire. Yeah. I mean, kind of like he was retired since the dude is so inactive. I just don't understand that. I mean, I understand he made a lot of money from the AJ fights, but he probably went through that already. So I don't know, man. Professional athletes and money is an interesting topic. You know, some guys know how to save, other guys buy a bunch of cars they're not going to use, and before they know it, they're like, is Walmart hiring? Target? Kmart? Does Kmart still exist? Kmart. Attention Kmart shoppers. He has a business. Oh, does he now? Oh, okay. I don't know why my screen is dark. It's hard for me to read the comments. For some reason, YouTube prefers you to do your live streams vertical. So it's like when I have it horizontal, it's like I get all this weird stuff on my screen. The color is weird. Probably looks okay on you guys' end, but on mine it's kind of funky. But I was looking forward to Usyk fighting Wilder. They was talking about. It sounded like it was already set. They were talking about having it in the Bay Area. So I was looking forward to seeing that. You know, I ain't been to the Bay since I was like around 8 years old or something like that. So I was looking forward to that. Usyk wants to fight in America and all that. So I was like, yes. And then next thing I hear, oh, it's not official. Just like the Chargers, I thought they hired Mike McDaniel from the Miami Dolphins. Now it sounds like maybe not. He might be trying out for a head coaching position somewhere else. So you never know. You get this information in real time and you run with it and hope for the best. Sometimes you get false information, but I usually try to really look into stuff before I make a video so I'm not sending out crazy info that you can't rely on, you know. This ain't one of those clickbait channels. I don't rock with clickbait channels. That's a cheap way to get views and subscribers. Well, they really don't get subscribers that much because when people see it's clickbait, they're like, nah, I'm gonna pass on the subscription. So You might get views, but not subscribers. And the goal is to get both. Be entertaining and drop knowledge on people. You know what I mean? But it's good to know that AJ's coming back. He's back training and he's with Team Usyk, which is a positive. I think they can get him in the right direction in a lot of ways, man. A lot of ways. And AJ needs that. The worst thing he could do, in my opinion, is sit back at the house and think about the tragic incident that happened in Nigeria. And of course, it's something I'm sure he'll never forget, but you still don't want to remain stagnant. You want to keep active and you want to go on with your life as best you can. And AJ's training and boxing is in his DNA, so do what he does best, which is box. So shout out to AJ, man. Still praying for you, man. Why can I see my comments? It's like they disappear. Why, oh, why? Just thought I'd go live. It's almost been a year. I think my last live stream was was it the Fury Usyk fight? The second one? And that was like a year ago since I went live. I was like, I got to see what's up with the Fearless Nation out there. Got to go live with my people. See what's going on in this ice storm. I was hot the other night. I'm like, ice storm? I need the AC on. So what's going on with y'all? What y'all got up today? Y'all think it's on a different note, but y'all think Terrence Crawford is done? I think he's really done. I think he has nothing more to prove. I mean, you can't really go much higher than beating Canelo, moving up a bunch of weight classes to do it. So you want to stop while you're ahead. And I think it was a brilliant chess move from Terrence Crawford. One of the best to ever do it. You can't even deny that. You can't deny that Terrence Crawford is one of the best to ever do it. This dude has been a solid guy. He trains hard. He hates to lose. I forget who it was. I saw a quote the other day that said they hate losing more than they love winning. And that's kind of Terrence Crawford. He hates losing. And I always said dudes like that are very difficult to beat. Very difficult. Sorry if you guys are typing some. It's like my chat comes and goes and disappears and doing all type of funny stuff. I don't know why that is. Now I see the chat again. Saw a short with Usyk training AJ. AJ was listening like a good student. Great to see AJ is willing to. Yeah, man, I think I saw the same one that you saw. He beat one of the best fighters of our generation and did. Yeah, that's very true. Very true. Moving up in weight was crazy work. Crazy work. Crazy work, champ. Yeah, crazy work from Terrence Crawford. But yeah, it was good to see AJ taking advice from Team Usyk. And why not? I mean, the guy beat you twice. So Would you want to learn from that guy? That's why I never understood Deontay Wilder getting with Malik Scott. Why would you get with a guy that you beat? Looked like he took a dive like Greg Louganis, but nonetheless, it was counted as a legit victory for Deontay Wilder. But why would you hire a guy that you beat to train you? And it was like Tyson Fury said. He was like, why would Deontay Wilder hire Malik Scott, a guy that I beat up? How's he going to tell you how to beat me if he couldn't do it? So I never understood that. So for AJ to get with the guy that beat him twice is brilliant. You remember when Lennox Lewis lost to Oliver McCall, September of 1994, Oliver McCall was trained by the great Emmanuel Stewart. So what did Lennox Lewis do? Got rid of Pepe Correa and brought in Emmanuel Stewart. Career just went this way. I don't believe Lennox Lewis would have been as great as he was without the great Emmanuel Stewart, and you can quote me on that. So who you got in your corner makes all the difference. They can calm you down, or they can derail your career. When I was boxing, and I still train every day, when I was boxing, I noticed when I would talk to certain trainers, some would have me calm and others would kind of have me feeling like I was on my own. So you want a guy that keeps you calm and gives you strategy, you kind of want a cheerleader to a point, but not just a cheerleader, not just a guy that's going to tell you some stuff and no technique involved. Just, yeah, go out there and win like that. Okay, that's great, but how do I do that? Got to have a strategy. I got a lot of respect for Wilder. Wilder did get a what they consider a late start in boxing. I actually prefer dudes starting at a later age. I don't think it's good to start around age 8. That's a lot of punishment to the head. And by the time you get to the pros, like a lot of these dudes be having like 300 amateur fights, and then they go to the pros, and that's a lot of head trauma. And then you might just burn out from the fact you've been doing it for so long. I had a homie in San Diego, we all played football, but he played like every year from about age 8 to college. By the time he got to college, he didn't want to see no more football. He'd been playing too long. So I don't know if people should start boxing at such a young age. I know there are people out there that think that's the way to go, but I've never been a part of that mindset. I think you should start maybe around 16 or something. Lennox Lewis started at age 16. Look what a great champion he was. He didn't start at 8. But just, the training is rough. The pounding is rough. Body punches, head punches, even with headgear, usually the front of the face is out unless you got that, bar across the middle. So shout out to y'all. Jose, Barnes, Scott, Bruce, Gass, and Charlene. Appreciate y'all for checking out Mr. J. Roos. I hadn't even planned on going live today. I think 14, best age to start at boxing. Yeah, that's a good age too. Guys call soccer mediocre players and great managers. Young developing brains. Yeah, man, that's people that have never boxed before. There's certain punches you can get hit with that rattle you that to the outside person in the stands will think, oh, that was just a light jab. Some of these punches can really shake you that don't even look like much. So imagine taking a power shot that looks like something. That's one to think about right there. I remember even when I was playing football, I caught this long pass. I was wide receiver, and I remember I got hit pretty hard. But when I went back and saw it on tape, it didn't look like nothing. But I remember thinking, man, that dude put it on me, that hit. But just looking from the outside, it didn't really look like that. Yeah, boxing is rough. I'm pretty sure I had my ribs broken. Ooh, not the ribs, not the barbecue baby back ribs. Yeah, boxers can urinate blood and all type of stuff, man. Speech slurring on a lot of these guys. Shout out to Terry Norris from San Diego, great fighter. Met him, it was always respectful. Shook my hand, would talk to me online. Um, Met him in a fight in San Diego, real nice, but it's sad to hear his speech. That's real sad when you hear fighters sounding like Riddick Bowe and stuff like that. Some fighters just react differently to punches. I don't know if it's based off just how their DNA is. I don't know if it's just based off diet or just what, but some fighters come out, no speech problems. Others coming out and they can hardly put a sentence together, like James Toney. And I did a video, but Moses Atalma sounds a bit iffy to me. I don't know how some people are acting like they don't hear it, but it's obvious. Moses Atalma sounds a little bit like he's been touched up. And he's a young guy too, so you hope for the best, but that's nasty work, champ. Nasty work. I remember struggling. 2 weeks. Wow. Wow. Yeah, man. The ribs are something else, man. They can be sensitive. He said Charlene said that Moses Atalma sounds like he's on the Bob Marley. Might be a little bit of both. Hopefully he's not hitting the ganja man. Hopefully he's not. But he kind of looks like one of the Marleys, come to think of it. If he grows dreads, I guess we'll pretty much know. But yeah, he pulled out of the fight with Jermaine Franklin due to injury. I forgot to mention that. What's up with that? He's supposed to be a young prospect. He's having like 1 to 2 fights a year. Now he's pulling out. Like, what's up? I don't like that, man. And who was that I was listening to the other day talking about Moses Atalma was intimidating looking? Moses Atalma is intimidating looking? No. I've never looked at Moses Atalma like, man, that dude looks ferocious, dude. No. No, he's not overly muscular. He's kind of got like a boyish build. He's a handsome guy. He's not intimidating looking at all. Now, AJ is a handsome guy, but he's built, so he could be scary. But Moses Atalma, nah, you wouldn't look at that dude walking down the street like, man, I need to cross the street, man. That dude, no, stop it. I forgot who it was that said that. Oh, is that dude that works for the Zone, the British dude, Ade, ADE? Like, what's he? He just likes Moses Atalma because there ain't no way that dude's intimidating. Stop it. He might be intimidating to Dillian White after the fact, after the way he got hands put on him, but just looking at him, nah. He don't. They might have been comparing him to Mike Tyson, but he don't have that Mike Tyson intimidation factor whatsoever. Maybe it's just me. I don't know. I ain't scared of none of these dudes anyway. Why does the chat disappear? YouTube be having some like mega glitches. Like, what's up with that? My Chargers are out of the playoffs. Another topic. Man, man. Go watch my NFL playlist, even if you don't like football. Might find it entertaining. Check out my interviews playlist, my West Coast stories playlist. I got another West Coast story to tell. I forgot what it was, but I thought of it the other day. I'm like, how did I forget that one? I got a West Coast stories playlist, interviews playlist, um, NFL, some others. Check them out. So you're on a long road trip. Check them out. Check out my live streams too. Nah, man. Hopefully, I'll be doing more live streaming lately, or in the future, I should say. It's been a long time since I chopped it up with the peeps out there, the Fearless Nation. And the powers that try to run the world do not want you fearless, but you got to be fearless. How do you become trust Yeshua, Yahweh, Elohim, El Shaddai, trust the Most High. That's how you remain fearless. You read the scriptures, you know what's going on in the world so it doesn't take you by surprise. You're not moved by sudden terrors. Chisora is intimidating. I was about to say that. I was going to say someone like Derek Chisora is more intimidating than Moses Atama. I mean, Derek Chisora, like he's a solidly built guy and he's got that crazy look in his eye. But Atama, nah, he's too pretty. Are the Chargers still? Now the Chargers moved up the highway to Los Angeles. You know, before I was born, they were Los Angeles. Then when I was growing up, they were San Diego. Then they moved back to LA. So a lot of people from San Diego were mad that they moved back up the freeway and they stopped watching them. But I'm loyal. I'm loyal like a piece of foil. So I'm staying with the Chargers, win, lose, or draw. Even if they move to Iowa, I'm gonna still be a Chargers guy. Don't like a lot of decisions they make, but hey, like I said, I'm loyal. Hope they do move back to San Diego. They share the stadium with the Rams. Shazor can have my lunch money. So you're gonna give up your lunch money to Chisora, huh? I can see that. Yeah, Chisora just looks like a dude like you would think about fighting a dude like that. You'd be like, okay, so I'm gonna really have to be on my best fighting this dude. But Moses Atama, now don't get me wrong, Moses got hands, super fast, super strong. He can lay somebody out, but he just don't have that look. You know, he has to rely strictly on his talent. You know, Mike Tyson had half the fight won before the bell rang because he looked scary. People were afraid of him, so he didn't have to do all that much to get you up out of there. Moses is like, you're not scary, bro. Unless you packing one of those in your trunks. And even then, he's not intimidating, not to me. Lennox Lewis, handsome guy, but was intimidating because he had that Ivan Drago presence about him, like Dolph Lundgren, handsome guy, but screen presence all the way. Ivan Drago, very intimidating. So you can be handsome and be intimidating. It's just Moses Atama don't have that build, man. If he put on some solid muscle, you know, developed a little more, which will come because he's a young guy. I'm sure the more he trains, he'll start to look more imposing. But as for now, he just looks kind of soft to me. He don't have that hard look, muscle wise. And I'm not trying to diss the dude. I'm just, calling it how I see it. I know the camera can be kind of deceiving sometimes, you know. But I think it would do Moses Atama some good too if he got Ben Davison about the paint and brought in somebody else. I'm just not. I went from really liking Ben Davison to totally lost it for him when he gave AJ that horrific advice during the Daniel Dubois fight. I'm like, this dude ain't what I thought he was. I kind of see now why Tyson Fury parted ways. Oh yeah, speaking of Tyson Fury, who's he gonna fight next? Because he's in the gym, we know. He's training. I even seen him in a martial arts outfit. Is he doing MMA now? But who's Tyson Fury gonna have his comeback fight against? And Tyson Fury has never been knocked out, been knocked down many times, but never knocked out. I heard someone say the other day that Tyson Fury hasn't beaten 3 top 10 opponents in his career. I was like, that's interesting. Very interesting. So is he overrated? Is he overrated? Who has he fought in the top 10? What, Wilder? I don't know what Chisora was ranked at the time. We fought Dillian White. Don't know what he was ranked. Of course, he fought Usyk, but he lost both times to Usyk. So that's an interesting observation. We keep talking about Wilder's resume isn't that great. Is Tyson Fury's resume not that great? Speaking, this is a whole different direction, but what's up with Joseph Parker's B sample? I did a video on that. He was claiming he's innocent, which I believe he is, of not being on the Coca-Cola. So he said he's going to present the B sample and, show his innocence. And I haven't heard a thing, and it's been a couple months. I know it doesn't take this long to get the B sample out there. I know some people were saying they hear that he's quietly under suspension for a year or two. So if he is suspended, it shouldn't be that long. Not a year, definitely not 2 years. But this is boxing, there's a lot of shenanigans jumping off. You're from Lincoln Park, is that right? Or Logan Heights? Yeah, I'm from the Lincoln Park area. Yeah, I grew up around nothing but Bloods, man, and Emerald Hills Bloods, man. Faison Love is from Emerald Hills. You know the dude who played Big Worm in Friday? Yeah, so he grew up around Bloods. My cousin in San Diego, Chris, he knew him. And I've even seen Faison Love on some interviews slip out and say Blood a couple times. I'm like, oh, wow, you still banging, huh? I don't think he ever banged. We used to just say, a lot of us used to just say Blood growing up because that's what we grew up around. I wasn't banging or nothing, but we'd be like, oh, look at Blood over there. We even used to replace the C's with B's. They act like it's something new, but we used to always say, though, that dude is crazy. Look at that dude, instead of crazy. But they act like it's something new nowadays. Southeast San Diego in the 80s was wild. Wild. I could show you some things. You'd be like, man, I never would have guessed San Diego was nuts. Heard he might fight Ruiz. Yeah, a lot of rumors he beat Klitschko. I've been to the Logan Heights area lots of times, though. My boxing gym was around that area. Moses has the best chance of beating Usyk. Caballero is too slow. Wardley has a better chance of. I think Caballero has a better chance than Moses Atalma, but that's just me. Gentrification hit so hard. Yes, it did. We all had to get up out of Southeast so they could expand my high school, Lincoln High, class of '90. Shout out to Terrell Davis, NFL Hall of Famer, MVP of the Super Bowl that was held in San Diego. Even North County used to be active. Yeah, man. Yeah, people just don't know, man. I got some. That's why I like Boys in the Hood so much. A lot of people think it's depressing, but I watch it and it makes me feel like I'm back home. That part with Ricky at the end, man, that was real, man. That seemed really real. The lady that was screaming, she should have got an Oscar for that. But Boys in the Hood was very, very realistic. Menace to Society was kind of like, that was kind of goofy. I never liked Menace to Society. It was like they were trying to amp things up a little bit. Tupac was supposed to play Menace to Society, and he walked out because he said the character they wanted him to play that religious dude, and he wasn't feeling it, and they got mad at him. They walked out, they fired him, and then I'm sure you know the story. The Hughes brothers, he beat them up with some other dudes. Tupac didn't play, but he didn't like Menace to Society either. I never liked Menace to Society. I thought the movie Juice, not that realistic, but very, very interesting. Juice was a classic. And Boys to the Hood, but I said Boys to the Hood, Boys in the Hood. Oh yeah, go check out my interview I did with Alonzo Williams, uh, one of the kings of West Coast hip hop. I interviewed him a while back, but he gives some great stories. The song "Boys in the Hood" was recorded at his house. His character was portrayed in the movie Straight Outta Compton. I interviewed him. Shout out to Dusty Vision TV. They have their own channels on YouTube, Dusty Vision TV. Go subscribe to that. And Alonzo Williams and WA Stories with Alonzo Williams. And you get some great funny stories about the world-class wrecking crew in WA, Ice Cube, Dr. Dre, Eazy-E, DJ Yella, all them dudes. Arabian Prince. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, that's right. Tupac was supposed to be in Baby Boy. I didn't like Baby Boy. It was, I don't know. There's a lot of graphic sex scenes in that movie. It felt like I don't know. I didn't like Baby Boy. I thought the song was pretty hard though. The theme song. And then seeing Snoop Dogg and the wife beater with them little chopsticks for arms. I was like, bro, put on a shirt, man. I know Snoop had stopped smoking weed for a while because he said he didn't like how he looked on camera, but I know he was looking at his build like, man, I'm a grown man and I'm built like I'm 9. That's insane, man. That's nasty work, Snoop. Arms like chopsticks at that age, that's some nasty work. Some crazy work, homie. Get in that gym ASAP. Or RN, not now, but right now. He said Baby Boy was funny. Yeah, man. I think I know what scenes you're talking about, like with Ving Rhames. I ain't seen Ving Rhames in a minute. Did that dude get up out of Hollywood or what? Noodle arms, yeah. I was like, wow. When you build like that, you gotta have something on you because you know that ain't nobody scared of somebody with little pencil arms like that, man. That was ridiculous. I knew Snoop was skinny, but I didn't know he was that skinny. I'm like, man, dude, do you eat? Like, what's going on, champ? It's the word. Didn't they have a big Tupac poster in the wall? I don't know if you guys know it, but there's a recorded telephone conversation on YouTube between Tupac Shakur and Monster Cody. I think his last name was Shakur too. And Tupac didn't really care for John Singleton that much, according to that conversation. He called him a coward and stuff. So I don't know. I guess they had a falling out. I remember seeing them race on BET. They raced down the street and Tupac beat them. But I know John Singleton was hired to do the Tupac movie, and he wanted to put in a crazy scene, and they got that dude about the paint. They like beat it, John. But John Singleton's best movie easily Boys in the Hood, man. Boys in the Hood. There's so many characters in that movie I could relate to. It's especially the dad, Furious Styles, man. Reminds me so much of my buddy's dad, Jimmy, in Southeast San Diego. Even had the same Teddy Pendergrass beard, you know. Where are my comments going? There they are. That's why I don't wear tank. I wore tank tops when I was super skinny. And I remember this dude was clowning me. This dude was making fun of me. I remember getting so mad that, dude, that's probably why I train so hard to this day. I still feel like I'm that little skinny kid, even though I'm 250. So I remember this dude was clowning. He wasn't even much bigger than me, but he was clowning. But you can look good in tank tops being skinny. It's just the way Snoop is built. And then, you know, there's skinny and then there's anorexic. Snoop is like anorexic, you know, but skinny in a tank top, that's cool, man. Rock with what you got, man. But Snoop just had that unhealthy skinny look, you know. You can be skinny and look healthy, but that dude, yeah, 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 champ. Calvin Brodus. That dude looked like he needed a meal ASAP. What movie was that Snoop put out where he was boxing? Like Snoop was boxing some dude in like a parking lot. Like I was like, this dude. Like if you can't beat Snoop Dogg fighting, like you need to go register at your local gym and find out what's what. There's no way Snoop Dogg should be slap boxing you and winning or doing anything else to you regarding hand to hand combat. Where did my comments go, man? Guy I used to work with was so skinny he'd have to run around in the shower to get wet. Now that's skinny. You got to run around the shower to get wet. Yeah, Snoop was looking bad, dude. Snoop was looking bad, man. He's a believer now. I hope he is. I know he started out in the church and then went astray, so hopefully he's back home. I don't think he's quite as skinny as he used to be. I remember Snoop posted some sparring footage and missed like every. Also, Snoop was actually sparring in the ring. Oh, I got to check that out. I remember seeing Meek Mill, I think, hit the bag, and I was like, wow, this looks terrible. Now we see why a lot of these guys got the straps on them. Like, hey, your hand game is missing in action. Some nasty work, champ. Nasty work. Hand game in the witness protection program. I don't know. When we grew up, we played football in the street. We slap box. We put on gloves from time to time. We were just rough, man. We was always outside back then, always. And just working out just stuck with me, man. It stuck with me, man. It be calling me, like Chris Rock said in New Jack City. It be calling me. It be calling me. He said, yeah, he looked awful. Snoop Doggy Dogg. That's a trip. He owns the Road Records now. I appreciate all you that are subscribed to me, all those that watch, all those that come through and chop it up with me. I appreciate everybody on the live stream. I don't take none of you for granted. Your opinions matter to me. And you got any suggestions about who you would like me to bring on the show to interview, or a topic you want me to talk about? Just hit me up on IG. It's the J Roos Theory over there. Subscribe to channel number 2 in WJ, Cash App, $J Roos 33. Powerade break. Oh, yeah. This is live and direct, full effect. Mic check. Usyk versus Ruiz will be like AJ versus Ruiz. Usyk will suck. I said it will suck. Stick and move. I got Chisora. Flatlining Wilder been brought to my attention. Wilder was, excuse me, supposed to fight him like 8 years ago, but ducked. Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. Wilder, excuse me, throat's a little dry. Wilder's people were kind of watching him carefully. I don't know if you know, but Klitschko dropped Wilder in the gym with a body shot. Vladimir Klitschko, the younger Klitschko, I believe. I've interviewed Usyk's first trainer at cruiserweight many times on the show. James Bashir, I met him at the Louis Klitschko fight in Los Angeles at the Staples Center years ago. We got back talking years later. He remembered me. I'm surprised, but he came up to me talking, just real friendly guy. But he was Usyk's first trainer, and he was actually at the gym when Wilder got dropped and I believe stopped by a body shot from Vladimir Klitschko. So I think after that, Wilder's people were kind of hesitant about who they put him in the ring with. Would he get offered $100 million to join the zone and fight AJ? That didn't happen. And Wilder doesn't have the best resume. And then when he did fight guys that were in the upper echelon, you saw he lost to Fury really all 3 times. Lost to Joseph Parker. Zhang knocked that dude senseless. So, yeah, some nasty work, champ. Shelley said Wilder was too green. That's why they ain't trying to push him to unify. AJ fought Wilder, only his 18th fight. Oh, AJ fought Vlad on it. Yeah, man. Yeah, AJ wasn't protected. And say what you want about Anthony Joshua, the dude has a great resume. He and Joseph Parker, they don't duck nobody. Whether they look good or bad, they fight whoever's in front of them, and their people around them aren't trying to just, baby them like Wilder's people. You hate to see that. You're supposed to be willing to fight everybody that's in the division, This is boxing. This is pugilism. This ain't table tennis. So people are going to remember in history who you fought, who you ducked. So you don't want to be considered a ducker. And you want to go in and have your wits about you when you're retired. What did Creed say? Be a thinker, not a stinker. All my Rocky peeps out there. Wilder and his team was always about keeping him away from guys that can beat him. They don't care if it's for 100 million. Yeah, man. Yeah, he's had some soft touches, man. That's why when people still running with the narrative that he's the hardest puncher of all time, and I don't even think he's in the discussion to really be truthful because it's always based on who you're hitting. If you're not knocking out dudes in the top 10, then what does it really mean, man? Could Deontay Wilder beat a guy like David Tua? Absolutely not. Could he beaten Ika Beabuchi back then? Absolutely not. Now I've heard Ike recently, and I saw Ike recently. He's just not. I'm all for fighters fighting until they want to hang it up, but Ike clearly is slowed down, and he kept himself in shape. So I'm tripping off how his punches look so incredibly slow now, man. That's some crazy work right there. But yeah. But I guess I'm about to get up out of here and finish my day. Hope y'all are safe. Stay prayed up. And when I say pray, I'm talking about the Most High, Yah, Yeshua, and yeah, give your life to Him if you haven't, and remain to be fearless. Like I said, if you would like to donate to the platform, the Cash App, $ J Roos 33. You know, brothers gotta eat. LSR forever. Be fearless. Yay.